can't seem to get any of my other crap to work. And I wasn't going to do any more rants because nobody likes to listen to some cranky, emotionally stunted harpy bitching about stuff she doesn't know about. But I if anybody's listening, ponder this with me. And I don't turn the comments on because I don't want to know your process, but I want to know that somebody else out there is thinking about these things, or at least is getting pissed off that somebody out there is questioning them. Every so often I'll stumble into the true crime murder mystery TV shows, and there was a special on I don't know if it was Oxygen or whatever TV channel I thought would usually have a cheesy romance flick, had a special about I think it was psychopathy. I think it was psychopaths, and I caught the end of it, so I shouldn't get super freaking pissed because I didn't watch the whole thing. I don't know what they said about the upbringing or the livelihoods of these psychopaths, and it varies. We see these people as CEOs just as much as we see them as mafia drug addicts, just as much as we see them as bums under bridges. So I don't know how they what angle they took in analyzing this individual as a human who was trying to meet his needs. But it was a young man at 14 killed a boy who was his friend and trusted him. And in the hi Prude, and the questioning or in the interrogation, when the psychopath admitted the murder, he said he knew that he could exploit the friendship, and that this young man would be the easiest target, that and didn't go any further than that, just that this guy exploited and capitalized on a friendship because, and this is the thing that bothers me, because of a lack of morality. They didn't go so much into a lack of empathy. They talked about a moral failing, or the psychopathy being scary because of a lack of morals. And I just want to ask, I wish I could ask the person that made that statement. I don't remember if he was the interrogator or if he was a criminal psychoanalyst. I don't know, but I wish I could ask this person or the people that are making these statements, is it really a lack of morality, or is it a lack of empathy that allowed this boy to murder a friend and laugh about it on the phone to his girlfriend while he's behind bars, and say, I know what I did was wrong, but I don't feel bad about it? Is that a lack of morality, or can we get even more focused and say that's a lack of empathy? That's a young man who has no contact, has not touched hands on emotional experience, such that it doesn't faze him that he's taking the life of this friend that trusts him because he can. He's so far removed from the emotional experience. He has perfect EIQ. He can get by in society and make a friend. It's a lack of empathy. When we fantasize about, being some kind of super villain and shooting off fart gas in the store to just ruin everyone's day, or, we get caught up in a really nasty daydream of like that asshole that just passed you, and after riding your ass for 5 miles, getting in a car wreck, like we experience these things as humans. I'll give you that. There is evil within us. We get caught up in the evil that's residing around us. I'll give you that, yes. But the thing that makes it a choice that we make to actually harm another isn't a lack of morality. It's not a lack of, I don't subscribe to your right and wrong. I don't subscribe to your idea that this is somebody's child and that's important. It will hurt them if they die. That's not the problem here. He knows it's wrong. He knows why it's wrong. It's not a lack of morality. It's a lack of empathy. And is it a lack of empathy to slap a moral failing on somebody before you go there and start talking about how psychopathy is made? Before you go to how a lack of empathy is made? And I'll tell you this, I'm no expert, but I will tell you this. It does not come out of a vagina. People want to tell you you are sinful. You are made of original sin. You came from sin. You are of sin. You have to be some gory baptism and, the only gory baptism of blood and we had that when we were born into this world. That's the only baptism you need, babies. You are not evil. You are not sinful. Your mother did not grow evil in her tummy. No. A lack of empathy comes from people who, this needs to be studied. Just like just like suicide is a phenomena that happens. Suicide isn't something that happens because, we talk about diabetes being something that happens because your body's stupid, because you're sick and it needs something that it can't do. We're looking at diabetes wrong, first of all. Insulin is stupid to inject into people. It's not that your body's broken. You're not trying to kill yourself because your brain needs more Zoloft. It's a phenomena that occurs in society, in a healthy society, because there are different bodies, there are different brains. It's a phenomena that happens as a response. That's what a phenomena, it's something that occurs. It's not, addiction isn't a disease. A lack of morality doesn't cause, a lack of empathy doesn't cause psychopathy. Do you understand how chock full of moral fiber and dogmatic, black and white, right, wrong, truth, the Nazis, the Third Reich, do you understand how full of moral fiber they thought they were? And everybody that backed them, everybody that didn't stand up and say, no, your morality is bullshit. Do you understand this is how Holocaust happened? Do you understand this is how psychopathy happens? It's making monsters. Psychopathy doesn't come out of a human vagina. Doesn't come out of a human uterus. It comes from being forced to try to survive in a society where just meeting your needs is so fucking hard. Because we want to make it convenient and easy and say all you have to do is matter enough. Be good enough to matter so that you can have money, so that you can provide a receipt showing that you did the thing. It's a goddamn lie because you cannot meet your needs that way. And especially when there are fat, I don't know how to describe it. Yes, there will always be inequality. We can't all live in the land of plenty. There's a variety in this world. Diversity is beautiful. There's always going to be that imbalance. I get that. Part of life is balancing the duality. That's our entire life's, journey is figuring out layers and layers and layers and leveling up, figuring that, out. The thing is, you need blood to live. And it's not, it doesn't make you weak. And to make it so that it's so hard just to meet basic needs, when, granted, a lot of people do the rat race really well and jump the hoops really well, and it motivates them, and in a good way. But I'm sorry, like, if it was a perfect world and we were all worker bees and we all, like, really needed that hive, the just the constant interaction and approval and validation and bumping up against each other, if we all worked that way, I think, yeah, the world would be great. You could you could make the arguments that you make about economy and trickle down and this and that. Yes, there will always be inequality, but like, I don't want to be an expert. I'm not trying to be an expert in my field, and I'm not trying to say that, like, a service industry job isn't good enough for me. Those jobs are honorable. I'm not good enough for those jobs. All I want is to do the work, the inner purpose-making, meaning-making, purposeful work that I need to do in order to just meet bare minimum needs on a psychological level, to feel safe, to know that I'm safe, because I am safe. I've always been safe. Spoiled princess little girl here, I know. And interactions that I've had with people in the past that show a lack of empathy, that show a lack of EIQ, there are reasons for that. And when I show up in your doctor's office with problems that you want to just say it's a moral failing, do you understand? I am not a gay couple looking for some baked goods to celebrate some commercialized thing that I wrote down on a piece of paper. Like, do you understand how I'm not looking for a cake to celebrate something that you don't agree with? I'm not asking you to agree with suicide, whether it's a disease, whether it's a phenomena, whether it's a moral failing. I as a patient, when I go to the doctor, when I go to a therapist, I'm asking you to help me meet the need that I can't seem to identify, that's not being met. You see a lack of empathy. Why is that? Is it safe to feel empathy? What is it like to feel empathy for this person? Are emotional experiences always the same for everybody? Are your emotional experiences having to be kind of like professionaled down a few levels? Like, are you kind of the master of dulling the intensity of your emotions? I'm not. When I feel my emotions, they're extreme. And you can say that's because it's borderline. You can say that's because it's narcissism. You can say that's because it's bipolar. I don't care what you want to call it. It's not, you've called it everything except for borderline to my face, but it's not helpful. You can say it's a moral failing. That's not helpful. You can say that psychopathy is the result of a moral failing or a lack of belief in moral values. Why aren't we talking about a lack of empathy? And why aren't we talking about whether or not it's safe to feel empathy? And why aren't we talking about how codependent it is to not feel safe around other people having an emotional experience? Is it a lack of empathy to say, I don't want to bake your fucking baked goods. Get out of my office? Is it a lack of empathy to say, throw this asshole in the electric chair and that's the end of that story? Some evil, some babies that are born are just evil, and we find out when we find out, and we shock them to death. End of story. If that's not a bypass, I don't know what is. It's not a lack of moral values. It's not a lack of blindly following something that somebody's grandma told them. Because guess what? The two grandmas in different towns that disagreed, that now these entire towns are pissed off at each other, those two grandmas were cousins. And they shared the same grandma at one point. And that lady disagreed with her mom at some point. Did something piss somebody off? Figure out what your own values are. The problem when you interrogate these people, they don't show a conversation being had. What are your values? Why is this okay in your mind? What are your values and why? Like, we don't find things like cognitive behavioral therapeutic interventions by deciding that we're going to fix something. We find these really helpful modalities and interventions when we're studying, when we're coming from a beginner's mind, a learner's mind. When we're researching, when we're open-minded, when we have a hunch, but good science means doing the absolute best we can to sort of look at this from every angle, and like, how I think this is how it works, but if I re-engineer the equation, or like reverse engineer the equation and check my work, if I do it this other way, is it still gonna work? Think about all the different ways to kind of backwards and forwards, is this gonna work? And be open to your hypothesis being wrong. It's not a moral issue, babies. What are your values? What are your morals? Do they say that you can buy freedom and happiness and esteem and respect, and that you weed out the evil fuckers and put them in the electric chair and that's the end of the story? Doesn't sound like a highly moral way to find like purpose or meaning out of life. I guess that's why a lot of people are so obsessed with just getting it over with and dying so they can go to heaven. It's really sad, because I think the thing we get wrong about Jesus is that he was just trying to tell us that the human experience can be pretty grand. I love you guys. Take care.